Alright guys, you won't be asked to make these, but you need to be able to understand what they're saying. And so pretty much when we have all of these categorical associations, there's two types of graphs that can be really helpful in figuring out if there are relationships. And the first one is called a segmented bar graph. Okay, you guys know what a bar graph is, so let's take a second and go over a bar graph. So bar graphs, let's look back on our data that we just talked about. You don't have to write this down, but just watch for a second. We talked about marital status, correct? So we talked, hey, maybe they're married, maybe they're single. Okay, and then on the last page of notes, we had, okay, what types of cars do they drive? And we saw that, hey, we are looking at the categories of a sedan, an SUV, or a truck. Okay, and so it might be helpful, and you guys might remember seeing like, hey, I can make bars with these and determine, kind of their percentages over here on the side. So this would just be like our relative frequencies or whatever are going this way. I'm going to make it a relative. Remember, relative frequencies just mean the percent. Okay, and it's the same thing on that one. So pretty much what we would do typically before, we would go here and we would make bars to determine, how tall each of these are. And so let's do that for a second. Let's throw back to the last page that we were on. The last page said, if you guys can look, I know you can, we said, okay, how many people are married? Okay, and so you would want to look across the sheet right here and say, okay, how many married people do I have? I have 66 married people. Okay? 66 married people, 66 married people, 66 married people. And so out of these married people, how many of them have a sedan? And so I would look over here and I would say, oh, 24 have a sedan, 30 an SUV, and 12 a truck. So 24 have a sedan, 30 have an SUV, and 12 have a truck. So I'm going to change these into percents really quickly. Alright, and so when I do that, I need to get my calculator out. When I do this, what is 24, here, just see what I'm doing while I'm at it. 24 divided by 66 is going to give me about 36%. 30 out of 66 is going to give me about 45%. These are all ishes. And 12 out of 66 is going to give me about 18%. Guys, typically I would go multiple decimal places. I don't know why I'm not doing that, but it's fine. And so we learned that, hey, if I wanted to make a bar graph, all I have to do is take this percent and put it over here. So maybe this is 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. Maybe that's 50%. 50%. And you guys were familiar with just making bar graphs before. So this would go up to like 36. So 36%. This would be 45. So it would be somewhere between there and 18. I feel like in here. Okay, well, the point is, you guys would be very familiar with this kind of structure, right? And the same thing goes for a sedan. So let's go back to our table over here. Sedans had however many single people we are. We had 26 single people that were surveyed here and or collected data from, and we saw 8 had a sedan, 6 had a SUV, and 12 had a truck. Alright, and if we go and find the percents for that really fast, we have 8 over 26, which is about 31%-ish. 6 over 26 is 23%. And I'm being really inconsistent with whatever. It's fine. Okay, those are all ishes. Alright, and so then we could come over here and kind of do the same thing. Look at 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. So 30% would give us about right here. SUVs are about 23. And trucks are about almost 50. Okay, and so we have these distributions. So why am I doing all of this? The reason I'm doing this is because I'm going to show you how we can make a segmented bar graph. These are bar graphs. We're going to take these and we are going to put them all together. So essentially a segmented bar graph is just you take all of these and you stack them on top of each other. Okay, and I'm going to show you what that looks like. So check this out. So we are going to come here. Just start with me for a second. We're going to put our marital status on the bottom. Our explanatory variables are, remember, always kind of go on our x-axis down here. And so we're trying to see if your marital status explains or predicts the type of car you use. Okay, and so the types of cars are kind of what we're going to fill in on here. But we're going to record the relative frequencies over here. So right now we are going to have a column that is designated for single people and married people. So I'm going to have something over here for the married people and something over here for the single Pringles. Okay, and this is going to show our frequencies. So let's just say each of these is 10%. So 10%, I'll label 20%, 30, 40, 50, this would be 60%, 70, 80%, and 100% of that group. So let's go back to our marital status. We looked at married people. Okay, so married people, we said about 36% of them had a sedan. So let's go ahead and take, they don't need to be different colors, but I'm going to do this. So about 36 people, I'm going to use 2 bars because I feel like it. This kind of lines up with 36 maybe, I don't know, looks about right. So this is about 36-ish% of my people. Sedan. Over here I'm going to label green as sedan. And that's going to be about 36% of my people. Then I saw that my SUV is about 45. To make this easier, I'm just going to start from the other end. This one's about 18%. So with my blue one, I'm going to show trucks, and I know that that is about 18%. So we don't quite get to 20. This is going to be about 18%, and that is for my trucks. The remaining 45% in between is going to be, let me show you what I'm doing, SUV and truck. So this in here, this remaining little bar is going to be 45% SUV. So there is my married people segmented bar graph. It comes from this. Hopefully you're kind of following what's happening here. And we're going to do the same thing for our single folks right here. Looking at our single people, let's look at this. The first one was a sedan. What percent did they get to? They got to like 31. So we would go up to 30, which is right here, and then do a tiny bit more. This is about 31. My green is my sedans. This one I see over here, trucks. Trucks is about 45. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, and a little bit. This is about, I should have rounded this up. No, I shouldn't have. This is about 46%. Okay? And then the remaining middle chunk is about 23% SUV for my single people. So we just made a segmented bar graph. And so essentially this bar graph that we're trying to say, and I'm going to go back to this explanatory thing here, is does marital status explain, I guess, car choice? Alright, and so the way that you would have to make that is you would have to go for each condition. My condition here is my, okay, if you're married, what percents of those are those? If we're single, what percents do I have? So these are like my conditions. And then I just make this. All right, the only fallback to a segmented bar graph is the fact that we can't really see, this doesn't really, to me, I would think, hey, I surveyed the same amount of married people and I surveyed the same amount of single people. That's what this looks like to me. So what a mosaic plot does, that's their next option here, our mosaic plot just pretty much takes what we just did. It takes our segmented bar graphs and it kind of adjusts it to show how many kind of totals there are, the proportions that we have. It doesn't tell us the number of people, but it adjusts the widths of the bar to show how many people they are. So let's check this out. So really quickly, you can be putting all this stuff on my scrap paper somewhere on your paper if you really want. But let's look at this. So if we come back to our original data for a moment, check this out. Let's look at how many people are married, or how many people in total do we have? We have 92 people total, and out of those, how many are married? 66. This is for our married people. And out of all the people that we looked at, how many of them are single? Okay, well, out of our 92 people we looked at, 26 are single. And so I'm curious to see, okay, what percents of them do we have? So 66 out of 92 is 0.717. So this is about 72%, and 26 out of 92 is about, I don't know why I'm writing this, but I am, is about, I don't know why I did that, it's about 28%. So look at the amounts of people that we did. Does this segmented bar graph really show that, hey, I surveyed way more married people than single people? I mean, not really. Like, you don't really get that vibe from this graph. So what a mosaic plot does is it takes exactly what we have here, and it just makes everything a lot fatter and wider. So what do I mean by that? So down here, we're still going to look at marital status. So down here below, go ahead and label this. I'm going to zoom back out in a second. I just want to show you what we're doing. Go ahead and label the bottom marital status. Marital status is going on the bottom. And so we just saw here that 72% of the people that we surveyed were married. So I want that to be reflected down here. So I would say, okay, this is 10%, 20%, 30, 40%, 50, 60%. Then we get to 70%, 80%, 100%. So this is showing me the percents of people that we surveyed, okay? So out of all the people we surveyed, we saw that 72% of people were married. So right here, our married people are going to take up about 72% of this thing. So right at, oh crap, right where like 72 is right here, that's what this line is. And so now all I'm going to do is I'm going to say, okay, the married people are over here. They take up 72%, and my single people are going to be represented in this remaining column. And so all I'm doing now is I'm kind of just transferring, I'm transferring what I have in my segmented bar graphs up here. So I'm just taking this and I'm sticking it down here. So if we look over at Sedan, Sedan was my green one, so Sedan, I'm going to say, okay, I said before that I'm going to label this as 20%, 40%, 60%, 80%, 100%. And I'm literally just going to copy what I have up here down here now. So I knew that my sedans for my married people got up to 36%. So I'm going to say that's somewhere in here, and this is 36%. Okay, sedan. Over here, I know for my single people, I said my sedan was about 31%. So I'm going to want to come over here and look at 31%. That's about right here. It's about 31% for my single people. And then we looked at, I think it's easier to do the top one first. Okay, so if I look at this, I noticed that it was 18% of my married people own a truck. So this is trucks. And about 45%, so that gets me right past 60, 46%, sorry. About 46% of my single people have a truck. Now this little remaining area that we have in here, this 45 and this 23% are my SUVs. So now the way that this is nice is now we can see, compare this to this, we can say, oh look, I surveyed a lot more married people. This does not tell me how many people I surveyed by any means, but we can just see, hey, we surveyed a lot more people or got information from a lot more married people than we did single people. Okay? You don't need to know how to make this. You do not need to know how to make this, but you have to be able to read that. And so I'm going to make a comment over here for you guys. So you need to just understand what is being shown. You will not ever be asked to make one of these, but you just need to understand what this is showing you. Okay? Hopefully this makes a little bit of sense. We will dive into this a little more at a later date in class with some practice problems.